everyone and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, then hi, my name is Lauren. And on my channel, we mostly talk about anything luxury, but we also discuss lifestyle and beauty. So if you're interested in any of these topics, please consider subscribing to my channel and we'll get started with the video. A thorough review and comparison of two Yves Saint Laurent handbags, actually two Yves Saint Laurent Kate handbags. We have the medium size over here and the small size over here. We'll talk about pricing, pros and cons, and I will show you close-ups as well. So if you're curious to hear my thoughts, then please keep on watching. Alright, so let's start with pricing. And the medium one, which is over here, retails for $2,400 plus tax. While the small one, which is here, retails for $2,100 plus tax. So we're only talking about like a $300 difference, which in my mind is really not much. So I don't think that this is actually a factor where you can base your decision on. You know, I don't feel like even if you're kind of like strapped for cash, that's a decision factor here. I do believe that both bags are similarly priced. So let's move on to pros and cons to really kind of decide which bag suits you best. So let's start with the pros and cons of the medium one, because this is actually the bag that I know best. This is the bag that I've had for the longest time. And since I like to be optimistic, let's start with the pros. So here I would say obviously, as in, you know, every medium size handbag versus small size handbag, we have what fits. Obviously, we can fit a lot more in this bag than in the small bag. By the way, towards the end of the video, I will show you close-ups of these two bags so you will see like the size difference. But yeah, so in terms of what fits, in terms of what you can take with you, this bag is a lot more practical. That's kind of like a duh moment. In terms of pros for this handbag, I would also mention its shape. And here you need to hear me out, because if I just say the shape, you're gonna be like, what? So obviously this bag is a lot longer than its smaller version, so it makes it more look like a rectangle. So far, what's the difference between a rectangle and a square? We all know that, but why is the rectangle better than the square? That's when we're like, why? So I feel in my mind that this bag is best suited to be used as a clutch. So meaning that obviously, you know, this is a shoulder bag. You can also use it as a crossbody bag if you're short. But in my mind, you can use this bag as a clutch, more so than its smaller sister because of its shape. So I feel like the length of the bag kind of allows it more to be used, you know, like as a clutch like this, especially given the fact that you can put the strap inside the bag and then you can kind of use the bag like this. I feel like this really makes it a very good option for a clutch, you know, especially if you have like a night out, at like a fancy event, but you don't necessarily want to take a Chanel bag. Then that makes it a good option, and it's not something that I feel you can do very well with the small bag. Alright, so unfortunately that was it for the pros of this bag, and that's why I've kind of been like thinking about selling this purse, is because I don't feel like this works for me. I don't think that I can find that many pros. So now let's move on to the cons, and for me the number one major con, and that's like something really big, is the length of the strap. So the length of the strap on this bag, on the medium size, just by a little bit, just does not allow me to use this bag as a crossbody option. If I want to use this bag as a crossbody bag, it sits like a little bit below my boob, like I would say this much below my boob. And I don't feel like this is very flattering. I really feel like, you know, it accentuates my height, it makes me look even taller, it makes me look weirdly shaped, kind of like odd-sized. It's not a good look. It is not flattering at all. And that kind of makes me mad, because I feel like, you know, crossbody handbags should be crossbody for everyone. And that's definitely not the case here. This is crossbody if you're 5'2", but I am 5'11" or 180 centimeters. So definitely a very far away from being 5'2". So that kind of, you know, prevents me from being able to use it as a crossbody. So the only way that I can wear this bag is actually as a shoulder bag, or in very seldom occasions, like we've mentioned before, as kind of a clutch. But I cannot wear this as a crossbody handbag, so I feel like this really kind of limits the options of how and when to wear this handbag. Next up, we have the weight of the handbag. And because this bag's size is significantly larger than its smaller brother, I really feel like there's a big weight difference. And here, obviously, we have the weight that comes from, you know, the strap, that's number one, but there's also some weight that comes from the bag itself, because the bag is very, very structured. And that, you know, in my mind is a good thing. I love structured handbags. I really couldn't deal with like not structured bags. I cannot do this anymore. I know that it doesn't work for me at all whatsoever. But I really feel like here, for being a shoulder bag, this is something that's going to weigh down on your shoulder, because even when the bag is empty, like right now, it's pretty heavy for being such a small bag. I mean, you know, it's not like a tote bag. It's not like a bag where you can like store a laptop or anything, you know, what I mean, you know, like the big bags. It is technically still a small bag. So that's why I'm like, oh, it makes it really impractical and kind of unpleasant to use. So I would not necessarily recommend the size medium, and I think that you've kind of understood that so far. Alright, so now let's move on to size small. And first, even before we do pros and cons, this is actually a bag that I have very recently unboxed on my channel. So if you're curious to see the unboxing and kind of hear my first impressions of this bag, then I will go ahead and leave the link to that video in the little information link over here for you to see it. So now let's move on to pros and cons, and as usual, since I like to be optimistic, let's start with the pros. And I feel like anyway there's a lot more to say in the pro section than in the con section for this particular bag. I really feel like I have a lot of good things to say about it. And I will say that the first one, obviously kind of contrary to the medium one, is the strap length. So here the chain of the strap is long enough for me to wear it as a crossbody bag. Hooray, yes! That makes me really happy, because I feel like it's pretty hard for me to find crossbody bags that fit my body type. And I'm aware that I'm like, you know, one of the outliers. I believe that I'm within like something like the 97th or 98th percentile of height for, you know, my like age group and my gender. But still, I mean, it still makes it annoying not to be able to find the crossbody bag. And I feel like here they nailed it. It's perfect. So that obviously kind of opens up a lot more possibilities of wearing this bag for a lot of different occasions. For example, one of the ways or one of the occasions to wear this handbag versus the medium size would be as a during the day handbag. I really don't feel like the size medium would be a bag to wear during the day, because you can only wear it either as a clutch, definitely not for during the day, or as a shoulder bag. But like I've mentioned, it's pretty heavy and uncomfortable, so yeah, there's not that much appeal here. But for this one, you can wear it as a crossbody bag, so this makes it a perfect bag to wear during the day. Also, and I actually did mention this during my unboxing video, this is perfect to wear like on a date, because it's understated. You know, it's not like a $10,000 handbag. It's not like a Chanel handbag where you're showing the guy like, hey, this is how much, you know, I like designer bags. This is kind of like in the middle. It's not too showy, it's not too expensive, but you're also not showing up with like an everyday tote bag that's like blah. So you're kind of in the middle. That makes it easy. And then I feel like because it's a crossbody bag, it's also a really nice handbag to go out. You know, when you're like going out at a bar with your girlfriends, makes it a really nice option, because you don't have to worry about like putting your bag down, or kind of like remember to take it when you leave the bar or when you leave your location. You always have it with you, and you always keep it as like a crossbody bag. So I really like using this bag for that reason. I feel like it's a very well-rounded purse. Alright, so now let's talk about the cons of this handbag. And here, honestly, like I don't have that much to say. I kind of had to think about it. Of course, we have, and that's, you know, something basic, something that happens with all like small size bags. You cannot store as much within this bag as you can in the size medium. That is obvious. You cannot fit, you know, a bunch of stuff. I feel like the size medium for being still a small bag, you can actually put, you know, like a face sunscreen, like a lipstick, hand sanitizer, like all of this extra stuff. Where here, you're really limited to card holder, car key, home key, maybe garage opener. That's kind of it. Like, you're not, you know, placing a bunch of stuff inside. The other one, you can even fit a pair of sunglasses. I've actually tried that and that works nicely. Yeah, but here, that's definitely not the case. So that, you know, is a con. And then something that I noticed while looking at both handbags is there is a difference in how shiny the gold hardware is. And that, you know, obviously comes from the fact that I have worn the size medium bag quite a bit, especially in its early days. So it is an old bag. But here I really feel like it is very, very shiny and almost tacky, you know, because it's so gold hardware. It's so in your face. Almost resembles like 24K gold, but that's not something that I'm like a fan of. Obviously, you know, it is something that as you wear the bag, it will fade. But when I looked at both, I was like, okay, now just in terms of gold hardware, I definitely prefer the size medium because it's kind of less shiny and kind of more, you know, subdued and maybe a little bit classier as well. But that's just in terms of wear and tear, and it doesn't really have to do with the size. So in conclusion, I would say that all of these considerations definitely make this bag a very good bag model. Now, in terms of sizing, I would definitely go ahead and choose the small size, which is in this hand, versus the medium size. I feel like for a bunch of reasons that I've mentioned previously, this one is a lot more practical, it will be used for a lot more occasions, and it has a crossbody option for me. So this is a lot more viable than this one, so I do think that I will go ahead and sell the size medium. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video was informational and beneficial in case you were looking at acquiring a Kate bag and you were kind of debating which size you should get. Definitely go for a size small because it is the best one. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.